He almost ignored it the first time. That would have been his biggest mistake. A Bernese Mountain Dog is not a subtle animal. 105 pounds. Tricolored. A face built for the kind of expression that makes strangers stop on sidewalks. Atlas had lived with Derek and Mara Thibodeau for 2 years before their daughter arrived, and in those 2 years he had been, in the specific vocabulary of dog owners, a lot. He knocked things off tables with his tail. He took up entire couches. He ate one remote control and a library book in the same week. He was not, by any reasonable accounting, a dog you would describe as delicate, which is why the first time he pressed his nose to Fiona's ear, Derek almost didn't notice. The baby was 7 weeks old, lying on the playmat, doing the arm-waving thing that infants do when they are processing the fact of their own hands. Atlas was on the floor nearby. He lowered his head slowly, no rush, and placed his nose against Fiona's left ear. Not against her head. Against the ear specifically, he inhaled twice. He lifted his head and sat back. Derek watched this from the kitchen doorway and thought, big dog, small baby, ear is interesting. He filed it and moved on. 3 days later, Mara mentioned it. He keeps doing the ear thing every time she's on the mat. Derek said he'd noticed. They agreed it was probably the smell of the infant shampoo. They used lavender. Dogs like smells. The 7th day, Atlas did it 4 times. Each time Fiona lay on the mat, each time the same ear, the left one only. Never the right. He would position himself at her left side, lower that enormous head with a care that was incongruent with everything else about how he moved through the world, press his nose to the left ear canal, and hold it there for what felt like longer than a nose should need to hold a smell. Then he'd lift his head, look toward whoever was in the room, lower his head again. Mara is a high school biology teacher. She thinks in systems. She noticed the left-only pattern on day 8 and wrote it in the notepad she kept for tracking Fiona's sleep schedule. Left ear. Again, she underlined it. By the 2nd week, it had stopped being quirky and started being something else. Something she and Derek didn't have a name for, but felt in the specific way a new parent feels something they cannot afford to be wrong about. Subscribe now if you stay for stories about what animals detect that we don't. You are exactly where you should be. Fiona had a well visit at 7 weeks. The pediatrician, Dr. Camille Osei, performed the standard examination with the specific efficiency of someone who has done this 10,000 times and still finds value in each one. She checked reflexes, fontanelle, weight. She reached for the otoscope. She looked in the right ear first, standard. Then she moved to the left. She did not say anything for a moment. Then she said, "How long has your dog been focused on this ear?" Just like that. Not, "I found something." Not, "There's a concern." How long has your dog been focused on this ear, as if she already knew there was a dog? Mara said, "How did you know about the dog?" Dr. Osei said, "I didn't. I'm asking because what I'm looking at suggests an early-stage infection in the middle ear that has not yet produced fever or external symptoms. Your daughter has not been crying more than usual?" She hadn't. She wasn't in pain. Or rather, she was not expressing pain in any way. A parent without a medical background and without a 105-pound Bernese Mountain Dog would have had any reason to investigate. The infection was bacterial, caught at a stage where oral antibiotics resolved it entirely without further intervention. Dr. Osei, in 14 years of pediatric practice, had seen children come in at a later stage of the same presentation. She had seen what a middle ear infection looks like when it progresses untreated in an infant. She had seen the hearing assessments that followed. She had run them. Has your dog ever done something you kept explaining away until the day you stopped explaining it? Tell us. Drop it in the comments. Every one of those stories deserves to be heard. Dogs can detect bacterial infection through scent. The metabolic byproducts of bacterial activity, the compounds produced as bacteria multiply in tissue, are olfactorily distinct at concentrations a human nose cannot approach. A dog's nose, operating with 200 million scent receptors against a human's 5 million, processes bacterial scent signatures the way a symphony conductor hears individual instruments in a full orchestra, the left ear only, every time, because the infection was only in the left ear. Atlas had been telling them for 3 weeks. He had been pressing his nose to the specific location of the problem every time the baby was within reach, and they had been, with the full reasonableness of 2 caring adults who did not know this, moving him gently away. Every guardian deserves to be seen, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If these stories matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Fiona completed her antibiotic course on a Tuesday. Her 6-week follow-up confirmed the infection had resolved completely. Her hearing was assessed and found normal in both ears. She came home from that appointment in a car seat covered with small yellow ducks and went directly onto the playmat in the living room, in the way that infants go places, which is to say she was placed there by Mara, and promptly became interested in her own hands. Atlas came from the hallway and lay down beside her. He lowered his head. He pressed his nose toward her left ear. He held it there for 3 seconds. He lifted his head. He exhaled once, long and slow, through his nose. Then he put his chin on his paws and closed his eyes, and did not do it again.